Hello and welcome back to my channel. Jacob Payton here. Today I'm going to be talking about Ghost Beach by R.L. Stine, my all-time favorite Goosebumps book. I may have mentioned that at some point in this channel. And now I'm finally going to review it as we head into spooky season. It is basically almost the end of August, or midway through August when I am filming this. So, you know, it is right around the corner already. The weather is starting to get a little cooler. And I don't know about you guys, but I am super excited. And this book is probably the first book that ever really scared me as a kid, so what better book to revisit? I mean, just look at that cover by Tim Jacobus, and I'm not even holding it in front of the camera, my bad. Tim Jacobus, you know, you got the ghost rising out over the tombstones with the beach in the background, and it's kind of a scary, like, ghost, kind of like, one of those earlier episodes of Scooby-Doo, the green ones that like rattle the chains and everything. I cannot think of their names, which even though I'm a pretty big Scooby-Doo fan, definitely makes me seem like a terrible fan at this point. But yeah, this book absolutely terrified me when I was a kid because there are so many twists and turns in this book that I'm gonna completely spoil for you guys in this review. So if you have not read Ghost Beach and you want to, I'm gonna probably spoil some pretty big things in this review to explain why it's my favorite book. So just a heads up, if you have not read it, you might want to go read it and then come back to this review. Now, it says no swimming, no surfing, no haunting. So already know, Ghost Beach, that's kind of a fun setup. And it says, do you believe in ghosts? Jerry can't wait to explore the dark, spooky old cave he found down by the beach. Then the other kids tell him a story about a ghost who lives deep inside the cave, a ghost who is 300 years old, a ghost who comes out when the moon is full, a ghost who is haunting the beach. Just another stupid ghost story, right? Da-da-da. Yeah, one of the things I kind of found interesting with this book, it does only really mention Jerry on the back, but he is actually joined by his sister Terry. Jerry and Terry are staying with their Uncle Ben and Aunt Agatha out at this beach. And she is also a major part in this book, as well as the TV show adaptation, which I think was a classic two-parter in the Goosebumps series that aired on Nickelodeon, because I do remember watching that when I was growing up as well, and also as an adult, because unless things have changed, it might still be on Netflix, because I'm pretty sure that's where I watched it. But yeah, I mean, she's basically with him throughout this entire mystery, even though I think a lot of it is kind of told from his perspective. But usually, you know, in Goosebumps books, the sibling kind of takes part in some scenes. They are either the they're usually set up as antagonists. So I did think that was kind of neat that in this book, you know, they were kind of working together to solve the mystery, which probably because I had siblings that were very close to my age, as well as cousins that were all my age or only a year older or so, made this book a little more believable to me. You know, we didn't have like an antagonistic relationship growing up. So, you know, the idea that if something like this happened, it would affect all of us was much more realistic to me. And as someone who also grew up around, you know, older family members for the most part, I could completely understand what it is like to be kind of sent to an older family member's house and be like, oh, there's really no other kids around but my sibling, so that sucks. And that's kind of, you know, what happens in this book. You know, they're at their Uncle Ben and Aunt Terry's house, Uncle Ben and Aunt Agatha's house. My bad for messing up those names right off the bat. And there are not a lot of kids their age, of course, until the one fateful night where they go into the cemetery and then end up meeting a group of children who tell them about the very scary 300-year-old ghost that lives in the cave on the beach. Now, this, of course, sets in motion them trying to stop this ghost who, for some reason, has a dog. And that is one of the major points in this book, because they do discover pretty well into the book that there is no ghost in the cave. The ghosts, of course, are the kids on the beach. The guy living in the cave is actually hiding from the ghosts, and not only is he hiding from the ghosts, but he is using his dog to kind of scent them out, because one of the big facts in this book is that dogs can sense ghosts and they don't like ghosts, and ghosts don't like dogs. So, you know, dogs bark at ghosts. I do believe that also happened in Welcome to Dead House. So that is kind of a running theme, I think, in the Goosebumps books, which I do find kind of fun. I like it when authors kind of set up their rules for things, especially when, you know, different types of monsters are involved, and then stick to those rules. I think that's fun. I mean, it also is kind of like Welcome to Dead House 2, whereas Welcome in Dead House, the townspeople were the ghosts. Here, of course, it's, you know, not the townspeople so much as the actual other kids they found to play with, the only other kids who like to hang out in the cemetery. Of course, kind of a dead giveaway, but definitely not one I saw coming when I was younger. And yeah, the ghosts don't like being caught, essentially, and they want other people to be ghosts. They want kids to play with. So yeah, that's kind of the gist of the book. And honestly, that kind of scared me the most, was the whole dog barking at ghosts, because, you know, growing up we also had dogs and stuff, and if you've had dogs, you know that they sometimes bark at things you can't see or hear. Most likely it is just an animal in the yard, but when you are a child and you have R.L. Stine ringing in your head, you can 110% believe it is a ghost on the prowl. Especially when the dog barks at a stranger and you're like, is that just because it's a stranger, or is that because it's a ghost? Luckily, my dogs didn't bark at any family members, like the end of this book. I think this is probably one of the best R.L. Stine cliffhangers I've read. A lot of his books, if you've read Goosebumps, you know they kind of end on cliffhangers with will the kids survive or won't they? Because yes, they defeated the main monster, but something else still exists, or maybe the monster got loose again. You know, it kind of sets it up for that kind of B-movie, and then they'll be back type of thing. But this one was always my favorite, because when they do escape the kids, they escape with the dog, and they bring their dog home to Great Aunt Agatha and Uncle Ben. And of course, Uncle Ben and Aunt Agatha are upset at the kids because they've been out so late. But they're more worried when the dog starts barking at them, and they huddle in the corner. And then, of course, Terry and Jerry gasp when Uncle Ben and Aunt Agatha realize that they've been outed as ghosts themselves and now have to find out what they're gonna do with the kids. And that's how the book ends. So also, spoiler there. I mean, I spoiled basically the whole book anyway, but you were warned. And yeah, that's my favorite Goosebumps book. For all of those reasons, it's definitely stuck with me over the years. I mean, I love the idea of haunted beaches. I love aquatic horror. Obviously, I also, you know, love the idea of, you know, ghosts and the undead kind of hiding in plain sight. And I also like the mystery element of the guy living in the cave who turned out not to be a bad guy, but almost kind of a protagonist himself, right? Because he was trying to survive basically this coastal area that's filled with ghosts for some reason. Yeah, and I just absolutely love this book. Oh, I didn't even notice that. So this is apparently Goosebumps number 22. For those of you guys that read Goosebumps in order, I will admit I never have, and I never tried. I was a little past the point when I was in school where these were coming out all the time, and, you know, people were buying them as they came out. Of course, they were at Scholastic Books fairs, but the time I was reading these were more like early 2000s, and there was like a Goosebumps 2000 run, and also Goosebumps was on TV, so it was a little different. I don't remember like buying these at Scholastic Bookshops. I remember getting them from school libraries or from classroom libraries, if I can say that word, which I don't even know if those are a thing anymore, but that was usually just a collection of whatever books your elementary school teacher had in their room for you to read if you finish something. I don't know how schools work anymore. I talk to younger siblings and I feel like a dinosaur, even though I'm really not that old. But that is neither here nor there. If you liked Ghost Beach, didn't like Ghost Beach, want to talk about Ghost Beach, or you want to talk to me about your favorite Goosebumps book, because once again, spooky season is on the horizon. These are quick reads. I would not mind reading more Goosebumps books. The hardest part about reading Goosebumps books isn't really finding them these days. They're not like Spooksville where you can track down like 1 through 12 and then really can't find anything after that. It's kind of picking or deciding which ones you want to read, because there are just so many. There are so many different series within the Goosebumps universe. And then, of course, there's also the Fear Street books. I mean, R.L. Stine is a very prolific writer. And, you know, of course, I will be doing on this channel, he has an adult horror comic coming out. So if you guys are R.L. Stine fans and aren't tracking that yet, you should definitely check that out. I do believe it comes out in September. And yeah, this video went a little longer than I expected it to. But yes, comment below with your favorite Goosebumps book, or if you liked or didn't like Ghost Beach. And as always, please like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.